Hello, this is a recording of a session we did with parents in January 2023, and it's specifically about what the choices might be for post 16 students moving on from year 11. So I'm Sue Lewis, and I'm going to be taking you through this presentation. We will be directing you to a website called Career Pilot, careerpilot.org.uk, and that has all the information that we're going to talk about tonight and a lot more besides. So what we're going to cover in this webinar is the different pathways available at 16, where you can go for all the information, what students need to consider when making decisions, and then thinking about how you can help them when they are trying to make an informed decision about their next steps. So when we did the live session, there was an opportunity to ask a question in chat. Because this is a recording, I'm afraid that's not possible. So this is Career Pilot. I wanted to mention this because all the information we're talking about in this webinar is to be found on Career Pilot. This is a free access website, so all this is free. You don't need to log in for this particular part of the site. So just to show you around quickly, these are our popular tools, lots of information about jobs. You can search for courses, apprenticeship vacancies, find providers near to where your young person goes to school or lives, the qualification ladder. The students can plot where they are now and think about what they might want to do next. And there's over 1,000 video stories in the site as well, people talking about jobs and different qualifications. We also have what we call our three-stage process. Start with you, explore your options, plan your next steps. And those are three good stages that you can take with you through life whenever you have to make a career decision. And lots of our activities are under these three sections, which I'll show you in a minute. But students might already know what pathway they want to do, so they can go into something like vocational qualifications or apprenticeships or higher education and find out a lot more about it and get some advice as well, because we're all qualified careers advisors behind Career Pilot. Now, the great thing about being in the Southwest or some parts of the Southeast is that the universities and the UniConnect partnerships pay subscriptions so that your schools and your young people can access the back end resources of Career Pilot. So to do that, all they need to do is register, which they do here, and then to be signed in every time they use Career Pilot. Then they can access all the career tools. So the career tools will give them an opportunity to save the things they like, but also there's little quizzes, and those will all be saved in that space too. Everything leads towards a report the students can build up over time, and that moves up for them every year. And they own their account until they're 20. So it's well worth getting your young person to sign in. They might be signed in through school, registered through school, so they can just sign in, show you their account. But if their school not using it yet, you could get them registered at home. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so what does the future look like for young people? Well, in the past, it was more like a stair. You started on one step and then you could move up through the steps. Careers of the future are likely to be much more squiggly in the sense we don't quite know what's going to happen. Technology means that things move very quickly. Who could have predicted COVID? There's all sorts of things could impact on where careers will go in the future, which is why everybody needs to sort of keep an eye on where the market is going. One little statistic, which says that if you're born after 2002, quite likely you'll live to 100. Who knows? But that is the prediction. And in that time, you can have many jobs and several careers. So sometimes it's about learning the skills you have so you can port them into different opportunities. And jobs are changing. That character in the middle is a very old-fashioned mobile phone. But just imagine all the things a mobile phone has started to replace. There's probably even more since that very old-fashioned phone. So things do change and can change very quickly. So keeping an eye on what's happening in the job market is a really useful thing for all of us. These are four particular sectors that are predicted to grow quite in a big way over the next few years: IT and digital, medical, science and care, engineering and construction, and environmental. So what we say to young people is that they're in charge of their careers. We want them to learn the skills to be able to manage their career. That idea of the three-stage process they can use whenever they have to make a career decision. But obviously all of us are there to help them. We do have a little video to explain that to young people. It's like a 3-minute animation animation that actually shows them what they could be doing now to manage their career. And we identify four particular things. One is know yourself and what motivates you, what skills you've got. Do stuff to build your CV and to manage and to build your skills. Know all your options in some detail and use all the supporters that are around you. Don't be afraid to ask a question. So I'm just going to show you some of the ways that students can do this using Career Pilot, and we'll get into the details of the options they can be looking at as well. So in terms of Know Yourself, we have a whole section called Start With You, and in that section will be activities to help students think about what's important to them. They could do a job quiz, they could start with a subject, start with a value they like, learn about their skills, or plan their qualifications. I'm just going to show you a few of those things. So there's a job quiz, 50 pictures of things you might like to do in work. They can click on as many as they want to, and then the system will suggest job sectors they should think about exploring because they seem to connect with what they're interested in. If they go into a job sector, there'll be loads of job profiles, lots of things they've never even thought of. So it's a great way to expand horizons and show the wealth of things that might be on offer. They could start with the subject they love. Often students have a particular subject they're really into. I'm clicking on computing here, and what I get then are lists of jobs that that subject could lead on to, examples of degree courses, apprenticeships, or vocational courses in college. Or they could do a skills map. So often students have a lot of skills and they don't necessarily recognise they've already been building skills through everything they've done. So what we do, we ask them some questions about what they've done. So this is an example about hobbies. I've kept going with a hobby or sport out of school. And for everything they click on, we tell them what skills that's helped them to develop. So they get a profile of all their skills, and they can add their own examples. So it might be babysitting, it could be doing a part-time job or being in a hockey team, and everything will be added in. So they've got them there when they come to apply later, lots of examples to show how they've been developing their skills. They can also compare their skills to a job. Just type in the name of a job, and then in the pink bit, you'll see the skills the job requires, and you can see your own skills alongside it. And you can begin to get an idea of what you need to do to build up to that job, if that's a job you really want to do. You could start with what's important to you, your values. So it's quite important if you know you have a particular passion, if you can get your job lined up to do that it's something to do with your passion, then you feel more motivated and chances are you'll be more successful and happy. So I'm just going to click on I want to be creative in my working life. And again, I get ideas of jobs where I could do that and also get some information about how I can make that a substantial thing so I can sell myself when I'm moving on to college or university or an apprenticeship. So do stuff is our second thing we say to students. Obviously for them, the important thing is they have to do what they can with their GCSEs, get BTECs, get the best results they can. But all the other things they do, and we always say don't leave them, don't stop doing them because they are really great for your CV. So obviously your exams are important, the courses you're doing, but lots of other things are important too. Then knowing all your options is where we're going to get into the detail of what the choices are post 16. We do have a whole section about that on Career Pilot. And in that section, you can look in a range of different ways. You could look at what my choices might be at 16 and see the pathways and learn lots more about them, or through jobs, or looking at apprenticeship vacancies, lots of different ways in. I'm just going to show you the jobs page because this is the most popular part of the site. So if you click on jobs, you can either search for a job, you can search by a sector, you can also search in other ways like what are green jobs. And you can see that you can also link in with the start with the value, start with the subject and the job quiz here as well. So you can look by sector. You could put a keyword in like animal and see all the jobs related to animal, and you get all these tiles that give you a little bit of an overview. And if you click on any of those, they take you into the job profile. And this gives you lots of detail about the job, including is it going to grow, how much am I going to earn, what I'll do. There's also a really useful section called routes into this job. And if you click on that, it'll actually explain what routes you can take. Is there an apprenticeship? If there is, what might it be called? So that could be a really useful way of young people finding out what they need for something they're really interested in. And you could be looking at that as well. So we mentioned the career tools. So if the students are signed in and they tag in the things they're interested in, all that information is being put together in the career tools. And they can look at it as a dashboard, which is like a summary, or through the full report, which could be quite detailed. They've been doing this for some time. And that report, as I said, moves up every year. So just wanted to mention CareerPal because that's really where a lot of the information we're talking about today will be found, and you can have a little look at that in some detail. So we're going to look in a bit more detail now about options, um, which is the focus of tonight's session. So just in terms of what your child needs to consider when they're thinking about their options, they do need to think about what am I good at. It's always good to sit down, make a list. What am I really good at? What do I really like? And then what grades am I likely to get? Specifically, maths and English is important. If you get a grade 4 and above, it's a bit of a gateway into other things, and also means you don't have to resit it, which the government insists on now. So good grades, maths and English above grade 4 are really useful, really useful. But obviously, what other grades you're going to get as well. So what do they love? What do they enjoy? Um, is it something they do already through their GCSEs, or is this something they'd like to, if they're going on to A levels, do they want to do a different subject, or or if they're going into vocational, what might be of interest to them? How do they like to learn? That's important too. Are they a sort of class-based exam person, or do they prefer to learn through doing? Maybe coursework might be more appealing. So it's very important to know that and to look at how that course is going to be assessed and whether it suits that particular individual. Just bear in mind, some careers like medicine or veterinary require specific qualifications, so it is important to check. Things are getting a bit more flexible, more apprenticeships coming on board for different things. But it is important to check that you've got the right qualifications for a specific thing you want to do in the future. They could start with a subject they like. You don't have to say what job you want to do at 16. You could stick with your subject, follow that through, and then a job idea might emerge from that. And certainly employers are interested in people with degrees of any subject because they like that higher level qualification element. So just remember too, there's lots of ways of getting to the same future job. There's often an apprenticeship pathway or a degree pathway or college pathway. So there's lots of different ways sometimes. So in England, we have a framework for qualifications. You might know this already, but just to explain quickly, we've got three pathways: academic, sometimes called technical or vocational, which is related to a job area, and then work-based, where you're getting trained to do a specific job in the workplace. And we have different levels of qualifications. So level 1 is GCSE grades 1 to 3. Level 2, GCSEs grades 4 to 9. So your young person might be working towards level 1 or level 2. And then there's lots of equivalent qualifications in the other columns here. So if they get a level 1, then they could think about doing a BTEC, a level 2, or a T level at foundation level at a college, or they could do an intermediate apprenticeship. There's often lots of different opportunities and options. If they're going to get level 2, they could be thinking about level 3, so going on to A levels on the academic pathway. I've called them BTECs, but there's also other things called Cambridge Nationals. These are all vocational qualifications in this sort of technical column here, or T levels, which are about a job area or might be about a job specifically if it's a T level. And then the work-based option, you're now getting up to advanced apprenticeship level. And then level 4 is the first year of a degree, and there's equivalents like HNCs and higher apprenticeships. Level 5 is the second year of a degree, and level 6 is when you get a degree, and you can get your degree from all these different pathways. It just might take a bit longer on some of these pathways. Bear that in mind as well. But what we're talking about specifically in this session is moving from level 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 and the different options that are available. So quiz question, you don't have to shout out. I'm just going to ask you the question and have a think about it. Do you think you need a degree or apprenticeship to become a nurse? Well, the answer is you can do it in either route now. For some time, you learnt on the job, then you moved to having a full degree, and now you can do it through a degree or an apprenticeship if the apprenticeship opportunity is available. Dentist, well, there is just one route into becoming a dentist, which is through a degree, but dental nurse and all the other things, a supported dentist, you can get in through a range of different ways. Solicitor, it used to be very much a degree pathway, but there's lots of routes now through apprenticeships. So it take longer sometimes than a degree, but there certainly are routes into that profession. One thing you need to think about is if you're thinking about apprenticeship, or if you think about job, sorry, then you need to think, is there an apprenticeship I can take into it? Because there are many more coming on stream, but not everything will have an apprenticeship pathway. So you can check that out here on Career Pilot in the apprenticeship section. There's an A to Z. You can click and see whether a job you're interested in has an apprenticeship pathway, or look at the job profile. Do bear in mind they can be competitive because anyone of any age can apply, and sometimes you have to go sideways with a apprenticeship. If you haven't got the technical knowledge, then you might have to start, even if you've got A levels, you might have to go across and do another level 3 or level 2 sometimes to build up your technical knowledge. So let's have a think about the offer for young people. Basically, there's three options. One is you go to a sixth form or a sixth form college. And the other one, you can go to a further education college, and most towns have one quite near, or you could do an apprenticeship. So we're going to look at those in a bit more detail. So sixth form, or a sixth form college, it might be, they tend to offer academic qualifications. You probably know this already. A levels, AS levels, which are equivalent to 1 year of an A level, but not many schools offer that now. Extended project qualification, which will give a student UCAS points alongside their A level and will be on a topic of their choice. Level 3 core maths has been a bit of a push from some universities, especially for humanity type courses, to have people with better math skills. So even if a student doesn't want to do a full A level in maths, they could do core maths, which is like an AS really. But schools often also offer vocational qualifications in the sixth form. There might be things called BTECs, Cambridge Technicals, University Arts London, and even some schools begin to offer T levels, which I'm going to talk about more later. And as part of the school, you'll have extracurricular things too, like work experience or Duke of Edinburgh. So that's the sort of school sixth form package. So A levels, you probably know quite a lot about those. You normally do 3 or 4 subjects. Often alongside that, you can do an extended project. They're all giving you points towards UCAS applications. So you could go on to university, you could go on to an apprenticeship, or you could go straight into work in some cases if there are opportunities. Minimum entry requirements, normally 5 GCSEs, grade 4 and above, including maths and English. Some subjects will require grade 6 or 7 maths. Often you need a 7 at your GCSE in order to proceed. It kind of just depends on your school, so you do have to check that out with your school. So some of the vocational qualifications, just to drill down a little bit to what they are called, in a school sixth form, they're usually applied general qualifications. So they're applied to a job area like business, vocational, health and social care, that sort of thing. And they're quite general. So they teach you about that sector, not training you to do a specific job. So from health and social care, you could go into a range of different things, either health or social care, and other things besides. So they call different things. My examples are here. They're either equivalent to 1, 2, or sometimes 3 A levels, depending on how big the award is. And often you can do a BTEC and an A level alongside. So that's sometimes universities quite like it if you've done that. So it might be a combination. And again, they lead on, even if you're just doing vocational qualifications, you're not doing an A level, there are opportunities to lead on to apprenticeships, work, and onto some university courses as well. But you could also go to a college, and in the college there'll be a much bigger offer of vocational courses. So that's one thing to look into. So they too offered applied general, just like school sixth forms, but they might have a much bigger choice because of the environment and the workshops they've got. So it's worth having a little look at the applied general qualifications related to a job area. But they also offer practical technical qualifications like hairdressing or plumbing related to a particular job area, where they're going to train you practically to be able to do that particular thing. And they've got great facilities in the college to do that. Then the new tech levels I mentioned a few times, technical levels, which train you to do a specific job, but through the college, and then a sort of pre-tech level, which I'll mention a bit more in a minute. And then there's traineeships. So if your young person is interested in apprenticeship, doesn't feel ready, or hasn't got the required GCSEs, then they could do a traineeship. So that is like a preparation for an apprenticeship course. So let me tell you a bit more about T levels, which are a fairly recent thing, mainly offered through college, but some schools are offering them as well. So if you look at this chart, most classroom based is A levels, and the least classroom based is apprenticeships because they're done through the work environment. So T level is in the middle of that, where you do 80% of your work in the classroom and then 20% in the workplace. And apprenticeship is almost the opposite to that. 80% in the workplace, 20% in the classroom. So T levels are training you to do a specific job. So you do need to know that's a job you want to do, but they will mostly be happening within a college environment. They've been created by business. They, as I said, training for a specific job. They are 2-year courses and they're equivalent to 3 A levels. So they're quite meaty, and you will have about 45 to 60 days of work experience alongside the course you're doing at the college. You'll get some exams, but there'll also be coursework as well. And they do carry UCAS points, so it could potentially be a route into university, but it's often a route into an apprenticeship or work. There's lots of opportunities now. They're coming on in phases. So we've got 3 phases. This last one is just coming in this year, next year. But you can see there's quite a range of things. But if you click on digital, it will specifically tell you what job areas they're training you to do in the area of digital. There is this preparation for T levels. So if your young person would be interested in that but don't feel quite ready, then because they are quite meaty, equivalent to 3 A levels, then there is a sort of preparation course that all colleges offer, which is a year full time. That'll give you the work readiness skills and help you make sure you've got the maths and English you need as well. And they lead on to T levels. So let's have a look at apprenticeships. They're available in all these different levels. Uh, and apprentices are employed by the company that's training them, so they will be an employee with all the benefits of that, including getting some pay as well. So the minimum will be 177 per week, but some employers top that up, and certainly if you're doing higher and degree apprenticeships, you often get more than that. You learn by doing the job, and you need to find one because it's like finding a job. So you need to look for the vacancies. And bear in mind too that sometimes you need to go sideways with an apprenticeship because you need to develop the technical knowledge to progress through an apprenticeship. So even if you've got A levels, you might have to start level 2 and work your way up in that job area. So in terms of all the qualifications in Career Pilot, we have this ladder, so students can actually put in what they're doing now and think about what they might do in the future. And for every one of these, there's a little explanation about what it is. So this is another good place to get a feel for the different qualifications that are on offer. So the other thing we mentioned now, animated video, is the students should use their supporters. So, they might know already who's going to be around to support them, like you as parents, as a career pilot, their teachers. Most schools have a careers advisor, so if they're stuck, they can ask for help. So they should use as many of these things as they can to help them make a good decision. So just a few things to think about when choosing post-16 options. Free full-time education lasts until 19 years of age. So that's why it's good to try to get on the right pathway for you. Sometimes it's not possible, but bear in mind, that you only get free education till you're 19, so you want to make the most of your opportunities and make sure they suit you. Don't forget to discuss with your child what they enjoy and good at. Try to tease that out, help them to think about that. You're happy in work if you're doing what you like. Speak to current teachers and go to a range of open evenings. Definitely worth doing that to get a feel about the place, what they offer. Does it suit you? Have a plan. We would always suggest an A, B, and a C because you never know what might change. So it might be I really want to do this course and then things don't work out, but you've got your plan B. Or you do the course you want to do, and 3 weeks in you think, actually, this isn't right, but you've got your plan B. So it's always worth having more than one thing on your list. Always try and find out where that course is going to lead. Most colleges should be saying, this is our course, this is what it can lead on to, but really look into that because it's quite important that course is going to take you somewhere, take you to the next steps. And if you can help students to become more independent, resilience, being able to keep going, get ready for change, all those things are going to be useful life skills. So what else is there to help you as parents or carers? Well, we've got the main Career Pal site, which you can use as well. You can click on the top bar here and get into the parent zone. So there you can choose what section you're particularly interested in, like choices 16, and then you'll get answers to questions that maybe you're interested to know about. What the choices for my child is 16, which is what we've been doing tonight. What funding support is available for a course at college. So the parents area is a section of answers to questions that parents are frequently asking. So the address we've talked about a lot tonight, careerpalette.org.uk. If you yourself as an adult are interested to get back into learning, change careers, etc., we do have a sister site to Career Pilot, which is for adults called Life Pilot, and that address is life-pilot.co.uk. So I hope this session has been useful to you. If you ever need to ask a question, then the best people to go to are your careers people within your school teams. But thank you very much for listening and good luck with supporting your child into their post-16 option.